new video, new background. Anyway, today I want to talk to you about books, 2 books to be specific, these 2 in this order. And I'm just going to go straight ahead and do that because my book videos are always incredibly long. Okay, if you don't know already, this is The Casual Vacancy by J.K. Rowling. It is her first novel for adults, moving away from Harry Potter. I don't know where you've been if you haven't heard about it because it's topping the best-selling book charts. This is just kind of a talk, a kind of vague review, just what I liked and what I didn't like. There aren't going to be any spoilers because that's not fair. So if you don't know, The Casual Vacancy is set in Pagford, which is a fictional town in England, a small town neighboured by a big city called Yarraville, also fictional. And there are lots of characters in this book and the plot centres around their lives, which all intertwine. And there's lots of family members and such. And the casual vacancy is a vacancy on the parish council. So straight away, something I really like about this is the narrative style. You have each main character narrating sort of, not a chapter each, because sometimes it's even more frequent. You're getting loads of different opinions and you're getting to know loads of different characters and different sides to different aspects of the plot, and I really like that. Something I didn't like, on the other hand, is there are so many characters. My goodness, it's a credit to her, and J.K. Rowling can write characters, we all know that. But up until about halfway through this book, I was getting confused. I would read a name, specifically a man's name, and I would think, who is he again, who is he? But the plot does move forward quite quickly because you have all these different people telling it, and this is quite a long book, so it's good that you have all the different characters, and I made it to the end pretty quickly. The characters are all very realistic and they're all very, very flawed. And I liked most of them. I couldn't really relate to any of them. I think, as always, she writes teenagers very well. I thought some of the relationships, particularly some of the parent-child relationships, seemed pretty unrealistic to me. Maybe that's just me and sort of what I've experienced. Maybe this is very true to life for some people. So that was just me. Something I really didn't like about this book is there is an estate. I probably should have mentioned that before. Within Pagford, there's an estate, a council estate, a lower class area called the Fields. And within the Fields there are some characters which are, as you would expect of an area like that, they are lower class and their language represents that. So the speech of those characters is written in the way they would talk. It's something we would all probably associate with chavs nowadays. I don't know, for example, all right, you was looking for me last week, if I'm to say it exactly as it's written. And I don't have a problem with that. I understand the importance of that and what it brings to those characters, and it makes them very real, and people do talk like that. But I think the thing is, and I don't know where Pagford is exactly, so it's very hard to put an accent on these people, but sometimes it just reads wrongly. It reads completely unnatural. Some of the words and some of the consonants that are dropped at the start of the end of words, it just doesn't seem like anybody would speak like that. And if you say it aloud particularly, I just end up sounding like a crazy Scottish person. Do you ever turn on your television in the afternoon about 2 o'clock and there's a rerun of Midsummer Murders from sometime maybe in the late 80s to the early 90s, and it's this small English village with the stone walls and the church and characters, you know, dressed typically of that time? That's how this book feels to me. I mean, the plot centres around a parish council. If I was a teenager in a small town, which I was up until a couple of weeks ago, the activities of the parish council is just not something that feels important to me, and well, I guess it's amazing that she can centre a whole book around something like that, but to me it doesn't feel relevant, it doesn't feel current. When I picture all these characters, I am picturing them as, you know, in the 90s, even though it talks about Facebook and it talks about mobile phones and all these things. It just, something about it feels really dated to me. I just felt that this book wasn't for me, not because of my age. I've been reading adult novels since I was very, very young, just because I love to read. So any book I could get my hands on in my house, I would read, no matter who it was intended for. So I'm no stranger to adult novels. I'm no stranger to the style of J.K. Rowling's writing. So when I got to the end, I didn't really feel any different, and I wasn't attached to the characters. They are all flawed, but I wasn't really rooting for any of them. It's a really good book and it's deserving of its success completely, but I just felt like it wasn't for me. Book number 2 has an absolutely wonderful cover. I love this so much, and I love that very much. This is The Yellow World by Albert Espinosa. This came out in Spain, which is where Albert Espinosa is from a few years ago in 2008 I think, but it's not been released here in the UK until the 1st of November. I was lucky enough to get an advance copy and I read this a few weeks ago. I'm just going to read you the little blurb thing because it's easier than me trying to explain it. Albert Espinosa never wanted to write a book about surviving cancer, so he didn't. He wrote a book instead about the yellow world. It is a world that makes you happy, the world you like living in. The yellow world has no rules, it is made of discoveries. In these 23 discoveries, Albert shows us how to connect daily reality with our most distant dreams. He tells us that losses are positive, the word pain doesn't exist, and what you hide the most reveals the most about you. His book shows that there is joy in everything in life if you look for it. That was just a skim read copy, but I hope that sort of makes sense. This is not a self-help book, but it's very easy to compare it to one in its style. It's giving you advice. It's an advice book is what I like to call it. So Albert Espinosa is a man who had cancer, very severe cancer, and he spent a lot of his young life from the age of 14 to 24 I think in hospital, so that's where he made these discoveries. It has so much charm. There's a charm in its honesty because it's very autobiographical. There's a charm in its adolescence because some of these discoveries he made when he was a teenager, and it's just very genuine and I loved it very much. I'll just open a random page and it's number 11, which is my favourite number coincidentally. Find what you like looking at, then look at it. And then he includes a little quotation of when he discovered this, and then he'll tell you about his discovery of it, and then he'll give you a little advice on how to apply that to your own life, and then he'll move on. It's a pretty short book and there are 23 little discoveries, and then he explains the yellow world, which I'm not going to try to explain, but this is written by someone who has lived life, an interesting life, and who loves life and who just wants the rest of us to love life, and that's just something very lovely in itself. And it's all well and good for me to sit here and tell you that this book is great, but the whole point of books like this is they're supposed to make you make changes in your life, so that's the whole purpose of them. So by the time you get to the end, it's fine me thinking, oh, that was so inspiring. After that, then I have to go and sort of think, well, has this made my life any different? I don't know that I'm at a stage in my life where I sort of need advice on how to make my life a better place or how to live more positively, but I know a lot of people are, so I really wanted to recommend this book to you all, and I was told about it with the premise that if you like John Green novels, you will love this book, and I found that to be completely true. It's funny and it's witty and it's charming, and look at this cover. Other books I read lately and really enjoyed included Room with a View by E.M. Forster, which is wonderful if you're a Jane Austen fan or things of that era. Very lovely. And I also read The Help by Catherine Stockett, which I've been meaning to read since I saw the movie, and it was absolutely fantastic. So I'd recommend both of those very much. I make weekly videos on Across One Sky. If you happen to miss me when I take month-long breaks from this channel, I'll try not to do that again for a while. And I've also been uploading stuff, fun, silly stuff on my second channel if you want to check that out. Okay, please, 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 someone talk to me about the Casual Vacancy, because I haven't talked to anyone about it and I don't know if I've just lost my mind with my feelings towards it. So please comment and let me know if you have read it or if you're going to read it. And like I said, The Yellow World is out on the 1st of November, and I'll put a link to that in the description. My voice hurts from talking and the sun has set upon the horizon, and with that I bid you adieu, adieu, adieu.